In everyday life, each of us faces moments when stress arrives unexpectedly. At those times, it is tempting to turn away from the source of discomfort instead of addressing it. This tendency to avoid rather than engage with difficulty is known in psychology as an avoidance coping strategy. Understanding how this pattern takes hold and learning how to shift toward more functional responses can transform how we live in relation to challenge. First, the nature of avoidance must be acknowledged. Avoidance takes many forms. One might distract with busy work or consumption of media instead of thinking through a conflict. One might engage in denial and pretend a troubling issue does not exist. One might postpone decisions or shut down emotionally. Such responses may temporarily reduce discomfort, but in the longer run they often prolong or magnify problems because the underlying matter remains unresolved. Research shows that with repeated use, an avoidance orientation becomes reflexive and may undermine resilience and well-being. What prompts avoidance in the first place? Often it emerges when a person senses low control over a situation. If the stressor feels overwhelming or resources appear insufficient, one may slip into passivity. Early learning also plays a role. If children observe that problems are swept under the carpet or dismissed, they may internalize avoidance as a valid style. Cultural and emotional norms matter too. If expressing emotion is discouraged or mistakes are shamed, then avoidance may feel safer than engagement. So how does one shift away from avoidance and toward more adaptive coping? First comes awareness. Recognizing the pattern of avoidance is critical. Notice when impulse arises to ignore a situation rather than face it. Ask what need lies beneath the reaction. Is there fear of failure or of letting others down? Is the avoidance about preserving comfort rather than growth? Conscious recognition interrupts the pattern and opens up choice. Second, the focus should turn to small, manageable action. A large, vague task often triggers avoidance. Break it down into a concrete step. For example, if you have a difficult conversation to have, you might plan one agenda point and a preferred time. Taking that first step builds momentum and reduces the sense of helplessness. Over time, the habit of initiating action replaces the habit of evading. Third, cultivate supportive resources. Avoidance often thrives when one feels isolated or alone with the burden. Sharing concerns with a trusted person gives perspective and encouragement. Social support offers both emotional relief and practical ideas. It also reinforces the message that one need not face stressors single-handedly. Fourth, engage in reflection on learning and growth. Rather than viewing stress as purely a threat, avoidance frames it as a signal. What message does the challenge carry? Could it point to a gap in skill or a value worth defending? By reframing stress as development opportunity, you shift from running away to heading toward. This shift in mindset empowers action and lessens the emotional hold of the stressor. Finally, build a habit of review. After taking action, pause and note how you feel and what changed. Recognize even partial progress. Reward yourself for showing up and doing the work. Gradually, you will strengthen the neural path that leads to engagement rather than avoidance. In short, moving beyond avoidance, coping is less about eliminating discomfort and more about changing the way you respond to it. By choosing awareness, action, support, reflection, and review, you convert difficult moments into catalysts of growth rather than sources of stagnation. With consistent effort, you will find that you no longer automatically sidestep life's challenges, but instead engage with them with intention and resilience.